Welcome to Behind the Law with Justin Clark, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Welcome to Behind the Law, yes indeed, featuring Justin Clark of Gregory & Clark, Attorneys at Law, 855-297-9696. If you want to chime in on the show today, you've got a question for Attorney Justin Clark, 855-297-9696. Exciting show today. We're going to be talking about modifications and much, much more, and also the Under One Roof program that's designed specifically for you. Let me give you their office number during the week, 321-282-1055, 321-282-1055, and remind you that for the radio audience, we will be at Fiesta in the Park next week with Justin Clark. He will be out there, and we will be doing this show live at Fiesta in the Park at 12 noon. So that's for our radio audience, TV audience. It'll be right on Sunday, right after the show on Saturday. So what's on your docket today, Mr. Attorney Man?
Good to see you, brother.
Good
How
to
you
see
been?
you. Doing
Happy
good.
afternoon. A lot of things going on. I'm a little nervous about a few things, to be perfectly honest with
Really?
you.
What's going
Because
on?
there's so much media attention out there right now on the real estate market, and it's bad or it's good, but I'm concerned about so many people that I know out there, a lot of my clients, a lot of people who are not my clients, who are in their house right now, who may be in some state of default, or maybe in some stage of foreclosure even, and they just don't know what's going on. They don't know what to do. So we've set up a program where you can call our office number right now at 321-282-1055 and get a free review of what your mortgage payment would be if you do a loan modification.
Outstanding idea.
Because it's really a financial task. It's not even a legal task, but you have to know what you're doing. You have to know how to play this game with the banks. And my concern is that the banks have beat people up so much over the last few years that some people have given up. And I think the worst thing you can do, and the one way to make sure the bank wins, is to give up. Because if you give up, then they're going to come foreclose on you. And then they can get that deficiency judgment against you. And then they can sue you for that money. Just like if you rear end someone and you don't have insurance, the bank can sue you for those money damages just like any other lawsuit. And I want to avoid that. And then if you just let your house go, you're not going to be able to buy again for several years because of the foreclosure. And then because the bank's chasing you for the difference. And my concern is I have a lot of people coming to my office that want to stay in their house, but they're upset because their neighbor moved in and their interest rate's at 3.5%, and they only owe $200,000, and your interest rate's at 8% and you owe $400,000. Well, let me tell you something. Sometimes they will do a principal reduction, not often, but at times they will. But more times than not, you can get them to lower that interest rate, sometimes all the way down to 2%.
Wow.
So how you look at it is, okay, I like this house. I want to stay here for 5 years. Look at what your payment's going to be if they lower it down to 2%, and it's going to be far less than if you go rent a house down the street that you're not going to own. And let's not forget, you're going to get the mortgage interest credit for paying those interest rates as well. So my concern today is I think anyone out there, if you have an interest rate above 4%, you need to call for a free review of what your loan payment would be if you do a modification. That's 321-282-1055. Let's figure it out. No commitment. Let's just figure out what your payment's going to be. Because then you can make a better decision as to which direction you want to go.
And you know, I was talking to our mutual friend Robert Palmer yesterday on his radio show on this station.
Which one?
And I think it was the 8 o'clock show. I'm not sure. I've lost track. Anyway, we were talking about the fact that I couldn't wait to talk to you this weekend because it seems like since it's not in the headlines anymore, most people don't think that you can still get help from any of the federal programs like HARP and HAMP and those things that you can guide them through, but they've been out of the news so long, some of the people think they're not available anymore. Nothing could be further than the truth.
Let's make no mistake, they are still available. In fact, they've been extended for 2 more years.
Great.
I mean, the help is still out there, and that is my concern. That's what I'm talking about. My concern is because all the media attention is going to how these things are obsolete, and they are not. The reason why they're saying they're obsolete is because of this HARP program, the H-A-R-P. That's the refinance program for people who are underwater. The program is still very much available. It's just not as many people have been able to take advantage of it lately because it's based on current prevailing interest rates. So when the interest rates went up, when they popped up historically over a couple-week period, less people could use it because they weren't getting any benefit out of it. Now rates are down again. I believe rates are down about as low as they're going to go. I think right now is the last best time to do a refi or to buy a house based on interest rates because they've come down a lot. The federal government committed to helping the economy by pumping more money into it, and I don't see rates staying this low for very long. I think if anyone's out there right now with an interest rate above 4.5%, you got to call us because whether it's RP funding or us, there's probably a program to get your rate down to closer to 4%. So I think anyone out there who has a rate of 6-7%, we're crazy to leave it at that because there are options available. Now, let's say you call me and you're current on your mortgage, and I say, you make too much money, you can't do a modification. But I think you can do a HARP refinance. What am I going to do, take your money? No, I'm going to send you to RP Funding, and they're going to be able to do the HARP program for you. Now, maybe HARP doesn't apply, but you are paying way too much for your mortgage, and I review your income, and I see that your payment should be way lower, and we should do a modification. Then that's exactly what we're going to do. Anyone out there who's paying more than 4.5% or 5% for their mortgage right now, we've got to call and see if this is the best thing. Because there's no reason we should be paying that much at this point in time. Now, wait a year, and 5% is going to be a great rate. But right now, we can get it lower, and I think it's the last best time to lower your interest rate.
We're going to take a break, but here's something to think about. Are you working on a short sale? Whether you're working on a short sale or currently in the market for one, the offices of Gregory and Clark can help you. Just give their offices a call right now at 321-282-1055. We'll be right back.
Behind the Law is pre-recorded for TV, but you can ask your questions live on the radio Sundays at noon on News 96.5. And if you need legal advice right now, Justin's associates are standing by. Just give the offices of Gregory and Clark a call at 321-282-1055.
For a free review of what is really going on in your situation, if you want to know what your payment should be, all you've got to do...
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Behind the Law with Justin Clark, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Welcome back to another edition of Behind the Law. I'm here with attorney Justin Clark, and today we're going to talk about loan modifications, maybe even changing the principal. But we're going to be talking about ways to keep you and your home if you're up against the wall, if you're behind on payments, if you're getting those calls from the bank, the mortgage company, you need an ally, and that's Justin Clark. We'll be talking about that and more today and taking your calls too. Welcome back to Behind the Law. What is your housing situation? Are you behind? Are you about to get cut back at work? Whatever that situation is, don't do this alone. All right? You need the help of Gregory and Clark, Justin Clark in particular, to get you through this. And it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. You're going to have people that help take the burden off of you. And if you want to call right now, you don't have to use your real name, but you can even call right now and give a scenario to Justin Clark. Call us at 855-297-9696. That's 855-297-9696. Exactly where are you in the process? Are you behind? Are you several months behind? Are you scared to death of the new accelerated 45-day program that our governor signed some months ago? How much effect is it having? Is it having any effect at all? Are the banks taking advantage of it? What about your HOA fees? Where do you stand there? Because that can be a road to disaster very quickly, as Justin can tell you. 855-297-9696. Join the program, 855-297-9696.
For a free review of what is really going on in your situation, if you want to know what your payment should be, all you've got to do, call the station now, and we'll do it. We'll go through the whole process on the air so everyone else listening can hear really what's going on and how my thought process works as to what your payment should be. If you don't want to talk on the air, that's okay. Call the office, 321-282-1055, and they will give you a free review of what your payment should be based on a loan modification. I mean, It's fairly simple in theory. So you have a gross monthly income before taxes, child support, any of that. Your gross monthly income dictates what your mortgage payment should be. It should be about 31% of your gross monthly income. Now, when I say mortgage payment, I'm talking about principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Not just the mortgage payment. We're talking about the taxes and insurance as well. So if you look at your income right now, if you're a W-2 employee, and say, I'm making $3,000 a month, multiply it by 0.31, and that's what your total payment should be. And if it's more than that, there are a ton of options out there for lowering that payment. And that's what you should do. How long is this program going to last? I think we have at least through the end of next year, maybe a little bit longer. But now is the time. I mean, as the economy recovers and the house values go up, these banks are going to have very little incentive to continue to help people. But again, I understand you're in your house now and you want to stay in your house, but the bank has jerked you around for the last few years. They told you not to pay your payment, and now they're telling you you're a deadbeat for not paying it. I get it. I've done thousands of these. This is what they do. They don't feel lucky. This is how they treated everybody. But the one way to defeat them is to take their incompetence back at them and lower that payment. Stay in your house. Let your child continue to walk to school 2 blocks. You like your house. It has a new roof. The AC is good. You don't want to leave. I guarantee you in 5 years, even if you're underwater now, and even if they won't do a principal reduction, in 5 years, it's going to be worth enough to where you can sell it. The key is get it low enough now to where even if you just think you're paying rent to yourself, essentially, it's way less than you'd pay rent down the street. That's how we have to look at this. And if you want to stay in your house, there are ways to keep you there. But I understand some people don't want to, and you want to stay there for a while for free and then get rid of it. And that's what a short sale's for. But I don't want you to be embarrassed to tell me, I know I'm underwater, and my neighbor tells me I'm crazy, but I want to stay. That's fine. A lot of people do. I don't blame you. That's what I would want to do because you're comfortable there. Do you know what a pain moving is? I mean, it's not that fun. And then you're going to go rent for a year and then have to move again. So don't be embarrassed to say, I know I'm underwater, but I want to stay in my house. It's not an embarrassing thing. There are ways to help you stay there, ways to lower that payment significantly, sometimes cut it in half, and you're happy. Stay there. Don't go to UPS or whatever and buy boxes. Don't go to Publix and ask them if you could steal some of their unused boxes because we don't have to do that. We're going to stay right here.
No banana boxes? Oh, I like them so much. Hey, folks, I do want to remind you, we're coming up to a break, but I've got to remind you of this, that on the 23rd and 24th of November, it's a very special day for the folks right here at News 96.5 and all of our sister stations, including WRDQ TV 27, because on the 23rd and 24th of November, we reach out to help the people of Central Florida get a hand up and not a handout. That's at the Community Food and Outreach Center. We'll be giving you directions between now and that weekend, which right now is a month away. But we want you to mark it on your calendar. I can't imagine anything better to start your holidays than to introduce your kids to what giving and community responsibility is all about. And for several years now, we have taken all of these shows, including Justin's show, and we've gone out and met you at the Community Food and Outreach Center. You brought food. You brought Christmas gifts. Because this is a program that works. It's a program that takes people and helps them first with crisis intervention, gets them in some sort of housing, teaches them the skills, keeps the family together, keeps dad under the roof, and gets everybody moving in the right direction, the kids back in school, and gets everybody the jobs they need, and on their way, an accelerated grocery program so that you may only be paying 30 cents on the dollar for groceries when you first join the program, but as it accelerates, you'll get better and better off, and it's a hand up, not a handout. November 23rd and 24th, be sure to join us at the Community Outreach Center. It's going to be great, and I think that you'll really enjoy that. I know your kids will learn a valuable lesson. Here comes a short break, but before we go, are you struggling to make your mortgage payments? Refinancing your mortgage is an easy solution that could save your home, and Justin Clark has worked on thousands of them. Just give the offices of Gregory and Clark a call right now. 321-282-1055, and a free consultation with Justin will give you your options. We'll be right back.
If you're having any legal problems that could cost you your home, remember that the offices of Gregory and Clark are your one-stop shop for saving your home. Short sales, foreclosure, bankruptcy, refinancing, it's all under one roof. Just give them a call right now at 321-282-1055, and you can schedule your free consultation. We'll be right back.
And Justin, I did want to point out that people don't want to try this alone.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Behind the Law with Justin Clark, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Hey, welcome back. Yes, you're Behind the Law with our friend Justin Clark. The law firm is Gregory and Clark. You can call the offices during the week at 321-282-1055. That's 321-282-1055. Now, don't let that number throw you off. The offices are not on the coast. They're right here in Longwood, right in Orlando. But somehow Justin was lucky enough to get a 321 exchange.
Thank goodness. Yeah, I was
Not sure
begging,
how that happened.
I was begging him for the 321 number. That's a lie, by the way. I'll switch it one day, trust me.
That's okay. It works out.
But use it, again, if you want a free review of what your house payment should really be.
That's being proactive. That's a
Free
brand new
review.
program at Gregory and Clark. But again, like so many of the programs, the Under One Roof and all that, it's being proactive. It's being the aggressor in this and not letting the bank be in charge, because that's something you don't want to do. And Justin, I did want to point out that people don't want to try this alone. Over the past several years, your law firm has made this a priority, and in those years, you have gained a great understanding of the mortgage and banking process. But as importantly, or more importantly, you have gotten contacts at the bank. You know who to talk to. You get by that first line of defense, which is that person that you, the homeowner, would get if you called the bank or the mortgage company. There are people that are paid to sit there and deflect your call and just say, make your payment, and we don't have anybody you can talk to. Justin knows who to talk to at the bank, the mortgage company, because you've done thousands of these. Evidently, some of those people have talked to you 3, 4, 5, 6, dozens of times.
Oh, we've done thousands of them. But let's be honest, if you're calling these people and the gatekeeper who's getting paid a small amount of money, you know they're not getting paid for long because it's someone new every day. They fire these people left and right, and you call back the next day, and it's someone totally different, and John, who you talked to and promised you results 2 weeks ago, no longer works there. Anyone who's gone through it knows that they go through employees. Like, I can't think of an analogy for it. Can you think of anything?
No, but I do
Nothing-
know that
nothing
either
safe
they're
for
out the
radio.
door or they're up. They get, they get escalated to another position, and pretty soon the guy that was helping you with your modification may be over in auto loans the next week. You never know. That's where Justin comes in.
Exactly. Let us handle it. Don't let it become a part-time or full-time job for you to where you really are going crazy, where you can't focus on any other aspect of your life. Your kids get angry with you, and you flip out because you're having to deal with this stupid loan modification in this stupid bank. Don't let them drive you crazy. That's the way they win.
And, there have been a lot of divorces in Central Florida because of all this foreclosure mess.
Oh, yeah.
Don't take it out on your spouse. Together, as a team, get with Justin, let him do it. We're up against a break, but before we go, are you looking to buy or sell a home? Whether you're buying or selling, this very well may be the largest transaction you make in your lifetime. Don't be intimidated. The law offices of Gregory and Clark can find you the right professionals and look out for your best interests through the whole buying or selling process from start to finish. Don't go it alone. Call the law offices of Gregory and Clark right now. 321-282-1055. We'll be right back.
You can find more Behind the Law on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Gregory and Clark, where there's plenty of past episodes with valuable information on how to save your home from the mortgage companies. And for legal advice right now, give the offices of Gregory and Clark a call at 321-282-1055. Associates are standing by. We'll be right back.
Mike and Kissimmee, how can we help you?
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Behind the Law with Justin Clark, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Mike and Kissimmee, how can we help you?
I've got a personal line of credit with the bank that I've had since 2007. It started at 3/4 under prime. And the reason they gave it to me at that point is because I owned a business. Subsequently, I'm out of the business and still are responsible for some real estate of the business. But they link that to the business rather than my credit, which I paid the payment every month on time. I have it electronically transferred. Now, they've taken that 3/4 under prime to 5.5, and the underlying equity is some retail shopping center. So what they're saying to me is that instead of charging you the personal interest rate, we're charging you better than a commercial rate. That's their justification.
How much is the
now
loan?
The loan is $400,000. The property now is just barely breaking even now.
Who's the lender? You can say it.
Chase.
Okay. So what happens a lot of times is, Mike, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you have a personal guarantee on this loan as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you have a personal guarantee, and there's a very good chance that this is a payable on-demand note. I don't know that for sure, but that means that the bank can literally come to you and say, "Hey, Mike, thanks for paying all these years, all this interest. We really appreciate it. Give me $400,000, or we're going to foreclose on the property." They have so much power in these types of lines of equity or credit, and you really need to be proactive in working with them and present some type of business plan to them, showing them why it's good that they leave it there. And you just have to be very proactive, because in my experience, once they decide that they want this thing paid, they're going to try to get it paid. Mike, you did say it was attached to the shopping center, correct? Is the loan attached to the shopping center that you were talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And so that's the problem. Then if he doesn't pay it, they can come take the shopping center. I've seen this happen way too many times.
Boy.
My advice is to anyone out there with a commercial loan, be very, very proactive in dealing with your local banker who you've been talking to, hopefully, and let's say we've got to come up with a solution here. And when they ask you to see your tax returns, you got to show them your tax returns. Be proactive, Mike.
That's it for this week's edition of Behind the Law with Justin Clark. But if you still have questions, don't wait for next week's show. Just give the offices of Gregory and Clark a call right now at 321-282-1055. They've got the answers. And don't forget to tune in next week for our continued discussion on programs to help you figure out what your new home payment would be if you deal with Gregory and Clark. We'll be right here on TV 27.
Thank you for watching Behind the Law with Justin Clark. Be sure to join us again next week as Justin takes you behind the law and answers your legal questions.